We're now joined by the Sanhedrin's press secretary. Thank you very much for joining us at this early hour.
Not at all. Glad to be here.
We know that Jesus was found guilty, but some think you've gone overboard with this case.
Nonsense. We just take heresy seriously. And when you combine heresy with a charismatic leader, well, that makes for a dangerous mix.
Why does Jesus draw, around such passion?
He promises all manner of things to the poor, inheriting the earth, and so forth. And yet he violates all our customs. He eats with sinners, tax collectors. Pretty soon, people start thinking he's the Messiah. Now, we rulers sympathize with the poor, of course, but we know that the Messiah wouldn't have a tarnished past with no education.
Our sources report that he was seen by both Annas and Caiaphas before being brought before the Sanhedrin, and when he was brought to you, he had been severely beaten.
Severely is a very subjective term. And as for some prior interrogation, neither Annas nor Caiaphas wanted the Sanhedrin roused early in the morning without just cause.
Thank you. We now bring you live coverage from our reporter in the field.
Judas Iscariot has just rushed out of the back of the temple gates. He threw money down, looking very distraught. According to witnesses, it was this same Judas who betrayed Jesus to the authorities. However, we've cornered another disciple, Simon, a fisherman from Galilee. Simon, or do you prefer to be called Peter, could you tell us what the disciples are doing now?
Disciples? What disciples? I don't know him.
So you're not one of the Nazarenes' inner circle of 12?
I said I don't know him.
Even though one of the guards positively identified you as the one who cut off Malchus's ear?
I told you I do not know him.
This is Benjamin Judah for Roman 33 News. Back to you, Sam.
We now return you to our regular programming, the 10 Commandments.
Water of life, give drink to the desert, and make green the meadow.
Aaron, stretch out my staff against the waters.
We interrupt your programming yet again to bring you this late-breaking developments about the Jesus crisis directly from Pilate's temple.
It's incredible. Pilate offered the crowd the choice between Barabbas, a known murderer, and Jesus. The crowd, whipped into a frenzy, cried, "Let Barabbas go." I tell you, Sam, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Pilate has just released Barabbas.
It's not unusual to release a prisoner on Passover.
True, but the crowd, which had been pro-Jesus just last Sunday, has turned on him today with a vengeance. Their messianic dreams have become a nightmare for Jesus. With me today, I have Barabbas. Barabbas, how do you feel about your newfound freedom?
I feel great. Best thing that ever happened.
Do you know anything about Jesus who will now die instead of you?
I heard something about him in prison, but I don't think I would have recognized him if I saw him. He was pretty beat up from what I hear. Face really swollen, back ripped up. Not the normal stuff that Romans do.
Thank you.
But I don't understand something. What did Jesus ever do? He didn't kill anybody. He didn't steal anything. Why would the Romans want to kill him?
Back to you, Sam.
Our expert on Roman law has just joined us. Why would Pilate be benevolent at Passover?
Well, Passover is a Jewish holiday. This is Jewish territory. The Roman government tries to be sensitive to its territories throughout the world. Rome isn't Egypt, after all.
We take you now to Ben Judah, who is on the road to Golgotha.
Thanks, Sam. The Imperial Communications Commission doesn't allow us to show you the scene, but I can tell you that Jesus looks really bad. The Roman soldiers beat him up again after the Barabbas incident. Blood covers his back where the Roman whip scourged him. His face is swollen and bruised from the beatings, and there's a crown of thorns pushed into his head. I've seen quite a few Roman beatings in my day, but this is one of the worst. Rumor has it that after the initial beating before Pilate, the whole battalion had a go at him. Sorry, Sam, it's hard to witness and describe all this.
Ben, we understand. It reminds me of what ancient King David wrote. Dogs have surrounded me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. It's almost as if he's prophesied this event.
Wait a minute. He's down now. He can't stand any longer. The soldiers are now grabbing a spectator. They're forcing him to carry the cross. Women are nearby. They're crying for Jesus now. I don't think they're followers. They just haven't witnessed this level of brutality in the streets before. Jesus said something to them. Now they're leading him off. Back to you, Sam.
Our expert on Roman law is still with us. Would you explain to our viewers the reason for this cross carrying?
Well, yes, humiliation, actually, frankly. We don't want the kind of grandstanding that comes from would-be martyrs sometimes. The cross-carrying also exhausts the convicted criminal to be executed. Crucifixion is designed to be brutal, remember. We recognize that, and by the time they get to the crucifixion place, we want them to be exhausted, too weak to do anything but die, to teach a lesson to all concerned.
For those in our audience who haven't seen a crucifixion, what is it like?
Well, it's not pleasant. It's not designed to be pleasant. Convicted criminals, again, are those that are being executed. First, the cross is laid on the ground. The criminal typically is stripped, then laid on the cross, prone. Soldiers will then usually nail the wrists first, where the two bones come together. The spikes go in pretty easily there. The feet, frankly, are a little trickier. The soldiers need to remember to bend the knees before attaching them to the wood.
Why is that?
Well, if the soldier should forget to bend the knees or otherwise spike them too straight, then the crucifixion victim will not be able to lift himself up with his feet. By bending the knees, the crucifixion victim can push himself up with his feet to breathe, relax to exhale, and then breathe and survive. Both actions are frankly pretty painful, but he can survive that way.
How long before the victim dies?
Well, it varies. Criminals have been known to last several days at times before dying of fever, heat exhaustion, sometimes even starvation. It also depends on how badly the criminal was beaten beforehand.
Thank you. They have pierced my hands and my feet.